government auction properties up to 90% below market value. We're going to show you the locations of properties that are going up for sale here in the next couple weeks that you can go bid on and flip. This isn't some hypothetical thing. These are real deals that you can go after. We're going to walk you through this step by step. You can flip these properties. You can rent them out for residual income. The main thing you're going to achieve in this video is seeing dirt cheap government auction properties that you can have a chance of going and buying. Some people watch this channel, they buy properties sometimes for as little as 200 bucks, flip them for thousands of dollars. Other folks might watch this channel and buy a house that they rent out or flip for 10, 20, 30, $40,000. It happens, and often they start in the same type of video. So we want to walk you through this step by step here today. And before we do that, I'm going to bring in the dream team here, my business partners, Mr. Josh Blanchard and Mr. Corey Chason. How are you guys today?
Hello, doing well. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Corey, lovely banana shirt, rocking it as always. And Josh with the beard game on point, leading the beard charge. So let's just cut to it, Josh, and show these guys some properties. For anybody here, if you have questions as we go, put them in the chat. Anybody watching, questions in the chat. We will get to your questions and leave them below the video if you're watching a replay on this, but just cut the fluff and show them the goods.
All right, fantastic. I got my screen up here. Let's have a look. Okay, nice. All right, so this is a auction that's happening tomorrow. So this is a 2025 judicial tax sale in Washington County, Pennsylvania. And I got to tell you, it's auctions like this where you can actually find really, really good deals. And so Pennsylvania has a few different kinds of sales. This is the judicial tax sale. So everything is actually going to get wiped, which is fantastic. Pending IRS liens, which is a whole different ball game. So we've got the county website right here. And to get to that, I did use our tax lien knowledge vault, but you could also just Google the county name and put tax sale. And so for us, we've got a lot of different information here. You've got a 2025 judicial sale list. And so when you download that list, this is what it's going to look like. And so, sometimes the county has its own infrastructure. They have a lot of different ways that you can search and navigate. But in this case, we've got a PDF. And right here, we've got the sale prices. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit on the sale prices. What you're going to notice is that these are actually super low. These are really low opening bids. This one is $26.15. It's got a fairly low ARV from the county, so that's only 35 grand. So you want to be paying attention. There are going to be amazing deals in here. So here's an example of $27.43, so $2,743 on 58 grand. We keep scrolling down. We've got some more juicy things. We've got, let's see, what else we got here? Yeah, so 2,527 on 50 grand. And so sometimes we talk about how sometimes stuff is going to go for a high price, sometimes it's going to go for a low price. An auction like this, properties actually have they have a much better chance of going for lower bids, even opening bids. And so even though you've got a lot of stuff here that has low ARV, there are really good deals. So for instance, like that, the 2.5K on 50,300, and that's county assessed value as well. And so part of the process is just doing the due diligence, because sometimes the county is going to be way lower. Sometimes it's going to be much higher. We've seen properties where the county has it assessed as a piece of land and a house, and there's actually no house there. And so maybe it's assessed for $120,000. But when you do the due diligence and you actually look under the hood, you see, oh, wow, we drove the property. There's no house. It's getting taxed as a house. So this is worth much less. And so when you can find a property, so for instance, this is a piece of land. Open bid is about $1,000. They say the ARV is $1,400. And so you could do the due diligence, and maybe it is worth $1,400, or maybe it's worth $10,000 or $15,000. And so the ARV is generally just a loose guide, because here we've got 44 pages. And so it can be a loose guide to help navigate. But at the same time, if you are able to put in that extra elbow grease, you can find some really good deals. And all you would need to do is take that parcel number, because for most of these, these lots, they don't have actual addresses. So you got to take that parcel number, put it into the county GIS, and then you can go ahead and check on Zillow or PropWire, PropStream, and see what similar pieces of land are selling for in the area. So here's about a half acre opening bid, $3,000. They got it assessed at 65 grand. It sounds like there are structures on it though, as well. So we've got a street address there. So that would be a great one to check out. What else we got here? Yeah, 3 grand on 31. We've got 1,700 bucks on 24,000. So there's definitely a lot of variety in here. And so one of the, okay. So we got, yeah, about 4 grand on $70,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to try some of these. We're going to throw some of these into Zillow or Google and see what we can find. So I'm going to go ahead, copy this 1 Ritchieville Road. Let's go ahead, throw that in here. So I'm not sure where this is, whether it's Daisytown or Ritchieville. Let's see. Ritchieville. I'm going to go ahead and just type Washington County, PA, just so I can get a feel for this. Washington County, PA. Just so I've got a good frame. Okay, so this is actually right outside Pittsburgh. Is there a Daisyville in here? Don't know. I could also just type what county is Daisyville in. So it looks like this Ritchieville Road is probably in Ritchieville. Let's see if Ritchieville is right outside Pittsburgh. Pretty close. I think we've probably got the right spot. Let me do one more search again there. Washington County, PA map. So it's just going to show me. Yeah, I'm going to say that's the right one. So we'll go ahead and open that up there. So a 3-bed, 1-bath. Now looking from here, right, the street view, we're not really sure what we got going on. Potentially there's a house there. Maybe there's not. Let's go ahead and throw this into PropWire. Now, if you don't have PropWire, PropWire is a free tool. This is a phenomenal website for comps. So whenever you're doing comps, if you're looking at properties and want to figure out how much the property is worth, you definitely want to use PropWire for sure. You can come in. I mean, to me, it's looking like there may have been something there, but it got demolished. You can come in, you can see absentee owner. And again, this is all public information. So nothing here is hidden or a secret, anything like that. This is all available to the public. We can go history. Looks like it was foreclosed on back in 2014. Oh, there's actually a mortgage on the property as well for like 2.5 million potentially. Pretty wild. We've got a deed of trust there for a building and construction loan. So I wonder, for something like this, you would really need to do a drive-by on the property because this is saying built in 1963. The photo there looks like we don't have potentially anything, or maybe they started something. You never know what you could find. It's possible that they started building or there's a frame there or something. If we look at the street view, the most recent image is from 2023. So if we go back to PropWire, we got part of the history. We can see that this is wild. That was done in 2024. So not that long ago. Interesting. Let's go ahead because maybe we're not even referencing the right property. Let's go ahead and look at that APN and see if it lines up. All right, because we always want to go by the APN. You can see how this could get a bit confusing with property addresses and things like that. So 154-002, 154-002, that's good. 0002, 0015, 0002, 0015. Yeah, this is it. This is the right property. So this would be very, very exciting to drive for sure. Because we're not even sure what's going on there. Maybe it's just a lot, but we do see in the mortgage history, we do see that they did get some kind of loan for building or construction. And so, for something like this, wouldn't be a bad idea just to do some due diligence and make sure that the county has notified that interested party, which would be DS Lending. That's the lender's name. That way, when you go to the auction and you're bidding on these properties, you can bid with confidence that everybody who has an interest in the property is wiped. That's kind of the name of the game, is that if they're notified, if they're part of the lawsuit, if they're part of the judgment, then it's going to get wiped. And so, you just want that peace of mind, right? Because if we're looking at I'm not sure if this is attached to multiple properties or just one, but if we're looking at a $2.5 million loan, and we're going to an auction and we're going to be bidding a couple $1,000s on something, I would want to make sure that this is going to get wiped. So it should, but the due diligence part of that is looking at the notifications, making sure that they're notified. So what an interesting find. So yeah, if I was in this area, which I'm not physically, I'm elsewhere, but if I was in the area, I would definitely drive this. I would add it to the list, and who knows what you're going to find. You may find a brand new frame. That would be pretty sweet. And so, yeah, it's hard to say what it is. And the other option, that you could do virtually, because you can do this literally from anywhere in the world, is you could put up a post on Craigslist. You could go into like a Facebook wholesalers group. You could put up a post and just see if anyone's interested in driving properties for like $25 an hour, more or less, and have people do that. And so we do that. We do that in Philadelphia for our virtual auctions, and I found a lot of people that were interested in doing it. So cool. I mean, this could be potentially a really sweet deal. Going through some more of these. I mean, I also had an our AI tool, go ahead. Whoops. Go ahead and look up some of the potentially best deals. So there's also this one here. It's got a total due $4,314, ARV 70,000. Let's go ahead. I'm going to copy that address if it lets me. If not, I'll just go 12 Railroad Street, Allenport. Check that out. 35 grand. Seems low. Let's take a look in this area. Stockdale, Pennsylvania. Yeah, outside Pittsburgh. So this is the right area. Let me go ahead. Now I see a house. Yeah, 2-2 under contract for $210,000. So why such a low ARV, right? We got a 3-2. Whoops, we're still on Ritchieville. Let's go ahead. Let's get that address back, because at a first glance, those ARVs are much, much, much higher than our property address. It's like I'm stuck in limbo. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to grab that address from our AI tool, 12 Railroad Street, Allenport. I'm going to throw that into PropWire. 12 Railroad Street, Allenport. Yeah, let's see if we can find out what's going on. And now, if you can't find it when you're trying to use PropWire, you can always go ahead and you can throw in the parcel number as well. That's another way to check it out. So this is also saying $42,000. It's also saying that there's a mortgage on the property. These are bizarre deals. I got to tell you, most of the time that we look at tax sale properties, we're not actually finding mortgages, because the mortgage company would generally pay the taxes to bail the individual out so that they can then foreclose. So here's our parcel number, 01023. Let's go ahead and see if that lines up. 010. No, we've actually got 154. So let that be a lesson on parcel numbers. And so for this, I mean, probably what I would want to do is just open up Regrid. I could have a look there. Regrid is also free. So two super valuable websites that we use today, Regrid and PropWire. Both of them are free. So if you don't have an account, make sure you sign up. It's not like we have an affiliate code or anything like that. It doesn't do anything for us, but these are free websites and they're great. So let's go ahead. Let's take that parcel number and I'm going to throw it in here. So I'm actually just going to grab it from the county data again. I guess part of the problem is I don't think, oh, I can actually copy this. So let's see if we can find it. Let's go ahead, search Railroad Street, just because this has got a lot of value. Not this one. There's another one in there. Oh no, this is it. Let's go ahead, get a parcel number. It's also possible that the AI needed a little bit of help with that. But here you can see how we're never going to trust an address. We're always going to trust the parcel map. All right, so you can see how you can just come in right here. You can see the parcel lines. And just a quick little thing too is that sometimes, you come in here and you may find that the parcel line is this little sliver next to the house. This happens. This happens all of the time. Here's another example. This looks pretty connected to me, right? And so I'm not saying it is, but if this is one house and you were just going to get this piece of land, you can see how that would be a problem, right? You're going to have to deal with the neighbor. Most of this is looking clean here. This one's not, right? So that's the kind of reason why you want to always be really careful. And so, for instance, this one is 51 Elm Avenue. This one does not have an address, and so it's very possible that the county could say, "Hey, we're selling 51 Elm Street," and it might just be this part, or they are selling 51 Elm Avenue, and it's just this part. So always something to look out for. The parcel map is the true answer. But yeah, so there it is. So we can see it is this 12 Railroad Street, Allenport, PA. Now we've got a zip as well, which is great. Looks like it's in a trust. So yeah, it is the property, 768 square feet. Two-bed, one bath. Let's get it into PropWire. I think this is the right one, actually. Yeah, 010. So checking out the comps here. Now, this is a free comp calculator, which is amazing. It's incredible to me that this is free. So what you can do is just come in here. Here's our subject property. And we've got a whole bunch of comps in the area, but we want to make sure that we're looking at apples to apples, right? We can't compare something that was built 50 years later, right? It's not going to be apples to apples. So ideally, you're going to be keeping the filter pretty tight as far as distance goes, maybe like 0.25 miles. We want to go same number of bedrooms, same number of bathrooms, built within a decade. Square footage is also similar. Let's go like plus or minus 20%. And have a look. Do we have some stuff? Yeah, we got $126,000 sales price. We got $103,000 sale price. Price per square foot, that's what is really important. We got $138 a square foot, $114 a square foot. So going on these two comps that were within the past year that are very close. 0.06 miles is extremely close. This is 200 square foot bigger, but we also got the same bed bath. But $96,000 is sounding a lot better than $30,000. And we could go a little bit further if we wanted to, 0.5. Just check the map, right? Because, for instance, if we were going across the pond, this could be an entirely different kind of subdivision or an area. And so you want to make sure that you're pulling comps that are similar. So from there, it's not looking like there's a whole lot. So I wouldn't have much confidence in this because there's only two. It would be nice if there was at least three. But as far as the opening bid, sounds like it's 26.15. I would want to get into it. I would drive it for sure. So these are incredibly, incredibly, incredibly low opening bids, which is very exciting. To be able to get into a property for $2,615, that is pretty phenomenal. So, at this point, I think we've gone over a lot of information. we looked at this data a little bit. I've showed you regrid for parcel maps. I've also shown you PropWire. So both free. You definitely want to be adding these tools to your repertoire. What I didn't show you was the vault. So this is actually how I got wind of the sale. Vault.taxlienschool.com. And so we do have an auction calendar. So it is paid if you want to see, future dates, but the next 7 days is always free, which is pretty sweet. So you can see 23, 24, up to the 29th. So we've got Philadelphia County, Hillsborough County in Florida, a few others in Florida, and then this sale in Pennsylvania. So I got to say, a sale like this, that's not, from what I can tell, it's not online. Let's go back to the county website. So you got to register at least 10 days prior to the auction. It takes place at the Washington County Tax Claim Bureau. So it's in person. So an auction like this, you could actually score some really good deals. Some of our best experiences have been in smaller counties where I've gone into the county courthouse. Maybe that's where the auction is held, and there's like a handful of people in there, like less than 15. And an auction like that, you can literally go in and just scoop up so many deals. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hop out of here for a second. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. Okay, we got some questions. This is great. This is great. Now, I don't use this platform much without Dustin and Corey, and so I don't actually know how to post the question up. I'm going to see if I can do that though. No, I don't know how to do that. I see these comments though. DT asks, once you get the property, then you just list it with a realtor, or what? What's the process once you've purchased the deed? Great question, DT. Very, very good. All right, so because it is a tax deed sale, it's not as simple as just buying, real estate on like through conventional means, using a realtor and a title company, because in this scenario, the homeowner, the property is being taken away from them, through force, right? So it's a break in the chain of title, which does present its own issues. And so if you were not to do anything, if you were not to try to help this process, no title company is going to want to touch a tax deed property unless an extended period of time has passed. So that might be 5 years, that might be 7 years, that could be 2 years, 3 years, et cetera. And so we don't have that much time, right? And so that's why you've got two different options, the two most popular different options. One would be using tax title services. That's TTS, Tax Title Services, taxtitleservices.com. They're definitely the biggest company in the game. What they can do is get you title insurance if you're going to sell the property, title insurance relatively quick, within 30 days. So when we bought property in Arkansas at tax deed sales, we would use them. They would get us clean title fairly quickly. Sometimes even less than 30 days. We would see it in like 3 weeks, which is pretty amazing. So that's the quickest way to go ahead and sell that and cure the title, tax title services. Or you could do a quiet title action through a real estate attorney, or you can go ahead and you can do that yourself through court. That's going to take more time. It's a bit more cumbersome. There's a lot more into that process in the equation. So that's how you cure title. But so outside of that, the quickest way is always going to just be listing with a realtor and having them, blast it out everywhere. But you want to be careful that you do get a good quality realtor. You got to make sure that they're actually going to put the work in. There are some realtors that are very comfortable just posting it on the MLS and kind of like that's it. But you're looking for someone who's actually going to work, who's going to make a great listing, take good photos, and actually work some leads for you and has a bit of a network, or cash buyers. And so they're going to list it. And then once it's under contract, you use tax title services. They can help. If that's not an option, you got to go the quiet title action route, then that's going to take like 3 to 6 months, which makes it a bit slower. Yeah, then you can go ahead and sell it and do your closing, title company, escrow, which is awesome. All Rise Media says, what site is that again? So I'll just show you a few of the different websites that we use. I'm just not sure which one you're referencing. I'm going to share my entire screen again. So we got vault.taxlienschool.com, which has the auction calendar. From there, that brought me to this website for the sale. But if you just type Washington County, PA tax sale, you should be able to get there. The comp's website was propwire.com. And then when I'm checking out parcel maps, if I don't want to try to find the actual county resource for parcels, I can go ahead and go to Regrid. So those are all of the websites that I used, and then we've got the list here. So yeah, in-person sale, which is mint. That's the kind of stuff you want to get to. All right, let's see. Back to this. Yeah, I see another question about Regrid. Yeah, so Regrid. So why do you use comps? Um, so the value of the parcel is pretty much it's only going to be worth as much as people are willing to pay for, right? That's how much property is worth. And so we don't use the Zillow number, we don't use the county assessed. We actually look and see in the past, and ideally recently, how much were people willing to pay for a similar property. And so that's going to give us an idea of how much the property is worth fixed up. And so, for instance, this one, you could make an argument that maybe it's going to be worth somewhere between like 85 to 105,000, depending on the finishes. And what we would have to do is look at those other two properties that sold recently, and look and see at the photos of the listing and see what does that look like. And so maybe it was rental ready, maybe it was completely remodeled, and so that's kind of going to be the benchmark. And then from there, you got to figure out how much to rehab the property to make it look like that. And so let's say you drive the house, you drive the parcel, and it's actually got like fire damage and it's pretty much a tear down. So it's like, whoa, okay, not actually interested in this for a flip, not interested in this for the house. Most likely you just have to demolish it. And it's different. It's different now because the value would actually be in the land. So you got to work it differently. But let's say you did drive it and it looks like it's been vacant for like 2 or 3 years. Maybe you talk to the neighbor. They say, "Oh yeah, Fred owned it, and he left, and he's been gone for 3 years, and so it's just been vacant ever since. And so it's going to be a full rehab. So then you just calculate, a rehab, and we've got like a rehab calculator. Our AI tool does that too. Or you just try to figure out, the cost of certain things like a roof, HVAC, things like that. But usually a rehab cheat sheet is going to be ideal. That'll help you figure out how much it's going to cost to fix it up, and then you can, figure out your max bid. Is a map for all the state when they list their cells on, and what is the best area to invest money in? Is the map for all of the states? Yeah, so we do. The map is for all of the states. It's an interactive map, and so some states are going to be tax lien states, some are going to be tax deed states. So the upside to tax liens is that generally you can get real estate much, much cheaper. But on the other side of that, most people do redeem. And so a tax lien, what you're simply doing is the county is owed taxes. And so the homeowner is delinquent. Now you are paying those taxes on behalf of the homeowner, and you're going to be getting interest if they redeem. So if they pay that money back, you're going to get interest on your investment. But if they don't redeem, then you can go ahead and foreclose and get the property. And so you're just, usually getting it for the back taxes. So you can get property really, really cheap. The downside is generally you got to wait like 1 to 3 years, 1 to 5 years, something like that. You get good interest, but most properties redeem. So then at the end of the day, you're just getting your interest. And that's why you got to, buy a lot of tax liens. And so, yeah, barrier to entry, much lower. And so a tax deed sale, you're going to go ahead and at the auction, that's actually when you get the property. So a tax lien auction, you're just simply buying the tax lien. So you're fronting the capital, you're fronting the money that the county is owed with the hope that you get the property in the future if they do not pay you back. So you're either getting your money back with interest or you're getting a property. So really, really cool. But yeah, it takes a lot longer, right? It could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Tax deed sale, you're actually getting the property at the sale. So kind of when you ask like what's the best area to invest money, it really depends on your strategy, right? And so if you're looking to cycle things as quickly as possible, you're going to need a tax deed state. So if I come back to, I'll share my screen again here. Just coming back to the vault.taxlienschool.com. Beautiful interactive map. And so you can see red is a tax deed state. Orange is a hybrid. So California technically is not a hybrid state, but they're pretty strict about their 1 year. Um, like you can challenge the sale, but tax title services can fix that. They can cure that. So that's not an issue. Um, so yeah, tax deeds are the red. And so when you say, what's the best place to invest in, if you're looking to just go to a sale and get the property right away, it's going to be one of those states. So Michigan, really, really great stuff. They've got online auctions. So if you're anywhere in the states, literally anywhere in the world, if you're in the world, you can just open up a US LLC and then you can bid. Really cool. So this is all online, which is awesome. Pennsylvania's got incredible opportunity. They've got a lot of stuff going on. Usually multiple sales for each county. Washington is on bid for assets, fairly competitive. I don't. Oh yeah, Arkansas, that's great. We've had a lot of success there. Utah, that's a lot harder. That's a lot harder. We did like a virtual training in Utah. In the county that we did, we found out that not one property had gone to the auction in like years. And so, if we were hoping to get a house in Utah at that county, not going to happen. What else we got here? So Florida is mixed. They've got tax lien sales and tax deed sales. A lot of that's online, which is great, but also fairly competitive. Georgia is redeemable deed. What that means is that you get the deed after one whole year. So they have one whole year to redeem the property from you. Sorry, they have one whole year to redeem. And if they do redeem, you get a 20% interest penalty on your money, which is sweet. We like that. But you don't have any rights to the house. And so if you're looking to cycle things quickly, Georgia's not going to be good for that. If you're interested in interest, though, fantastic. Texas is 6 months if it's non-homesteaded with a 25% interest penalty. So Texas is a great state. We go over Texas a lot. You'll see that in the training. If you are looking to get stuff for pennies on the dollar and you're okay waiting, then tax lien states are going to be really good. There's a lot of stuff going on in Arizona. They got a lot of online auctions. Alabama's got a ton of stuff. They got a ton of over the counter, which just simply means unsold tax liens. You can get that stuff dirt cheap, which is really cool. A lot of people don't believe us, but you can actually buy a property legit for like $250, which has happened. We've got a lot of students who have bought property for under $1,000 and then have been able to flip it. So it's the real deal. Okay. Okay. I hope that helps. I think it does. I think that was great. I think that was fantastic. Okay. Would you recommend setting up an LLC or trust for each property you win at an auction? You know what? It's definitely a great idea, but I would say first step is putting money, time, energy into getting a deal because a lot of people might spend a lot of time just putting money into all of the gadgets, kind of the setup, the arrangement, and not actually get to auctions. And so I would prioritize getting your first deal, maybe even your first few deals, and then looking at setting that up. I mean, definitely, I would hold off on the trust for sure. That's going to cost a little bit more money. I mean, an LLC, there's a lot of ways to do that fairly cheap. So yeah, but still, I would prioritize getting deals first before spending any money. That's what I would do. What county in California has over-the-counter tax liens or tax deeds? I mean, in California, generally, everything is going to get picked up. So, I mean, Los Angeles, anything like Southern California, they don't really have anything. So, if you were going to look, you'd want to be looking in more obscure counties that have less population that don't have competition. And the easiest way is you could call them and just say, hey, what do you do with the unsold parcels? Oftentimes, though, they have a resale. And so the resale is generally where everything unsold comes back. And it's a weird thing because it went before and nobody bought it. And then it goes to the resale list and everybody goes crazy for it. And they just like bid this stuff up like wild, which has happened. Seen a lot of stuff that people passed on the first time just get scooped up the second time. And so they do a resale pretty much for all of these counties on bid for assets. And generally, yeah, it does get scooped up. And if not, generally it's not the best deal or it's not good. A lot of the parcels in California are sometimes they're like you can't build on them. And so you've got these landlocked parcels, or you got parcels that really have no value unless you're able to take all of the parcels around it and then combine it into something that was actually buildable. But yeah, and so if you go on the internet and you Google like over the counter, whatever the county is, and you find something right away, that's great, right? Because you're finding it and now you're able to look and everything is making sense and it's awesome. But that also means that everybody else can do that too. And so if you Google over the counter and then put in the county name and you find nothing or you find no information, and then you actually have got to put the legwork in to call the county, that's great. I got a couple over the counter lists before, and they wouldn't actually give them to they wouldn't give them to me until I signed this document and got it notarized and sent it back to them. And it just simply said that I won't use this over the counter list as a mailing list. So, like, send a whole bunch of flyers or try to intimidate people to, like, I don't know why, someone would do that, but it happens. So, the more barrier to entry or the harder something is to find, that's actually better. And when talking to the county, you could use, lingo like over the counter, but really you just want to grasp the concept of it, which is just what do you do with the property that doesn't sell? And so if they don't know or they say we don't do that, you're probably not talking to the right person. And so you want to be talking to the person that handles the tax deed properties or the tax lien properties at the sale. Any difference? All Rise Media says any difference between tax deed sales and a sheriff sale? Sometimes, sometimes not. It depends on what kind of sheriff sale it is. So a sheriff sale could probably mean two different things. It could mean the first thing, which is the more popular option, which is a mortgage foreclosure. A lot of times the sheriff will handle a mortgage foreclosure, which is going to be different, right? That's not a tax sale, that's a mortgage foreclosure. And so the lender, the lien holder is wiping out the owner. And so a different kind of scenario, not everything is going to get wiped. And so you want to be careful that you understand the mortgage foreclosure rules in the county and read the rules with the sheriff's sale. But sometimes the sheriff's sale will actually, yes, mean a tax deed sale. And so the way to really kind of slice through all the noise and figure out exactly what's going on is to look at the plaintiff. So who is suing who? Is it the county or is it a lien holder? And so if you open up a sheriff's sale and you're reading through and you see, okay, this is Chase Bank foreclosing on the owner. It's a mortgage, right? But if you see it's the tax assessor, tax collector, some taxing authority in the city, in the county, that's who's doing the foreclosure. That's who the plaintiff is. Then you know it's a tax sale. Ohio, they combine them. So they're both at one auction, mortgage foreclosures and tax sale properties, both at the same time. So yeah, just look at who the plaintiff and defendant are. That's going to be the best way to navigate that. Joe says, I'm trying to buy land and flip it in Philadelphia. Any advice? Yeah, I mean, we do virtual auction training in Philadelphia every month. I would say that the biggest thing that I've seen in Philadelphia is that they do say everything gets wiped at the auction, but it's not true. It's not true. Everything should get wiped, but that's not how it always works. And the reason land can be so tumultuous in Philadelphia is because a lot of times these lots you're looking at have had properties on them, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, even months ago, but the county went ahead and demolished it. So right off the bat, you've got like a $26,000 lien for them going ahead and demolishing it. And then you maybe have years of code violations like nuisance liens, all of these liens that total like, $80,000, right? And so no joke, $80,000. You might have like $10,000 in water liens. So you got all these different liens. And what you have to do is make sure that all of these different liens, these municipal obligations, are accounted for in the lawsuit, in the court record. And so, I mean, there are people who just go in and they bid blindly, or maybe, at a minimum they drive the properties, right? But it does require so much more to make sure that you get through the process from A to Z unscathed. Now, all of the rules are there, but the Office of Philadelphia Sheriff kind of gives you a bit of like a readable copy that is digestible. And so you got to get off that and get to the actual statutes. So it all is in there, and you can certainly teach yourself. But I do think that our virtual auction training certainly helps like cut down on that time. We go through everything from A to Z. But I mean, that would be one of the biggest things that I would say. And so if you haven't been able to go through court records yet, you can go to the courthouse. You can do it. You can also do it online. It costs like a couple bucks to open up a court record, but that is definitely how you want to protect yourself. Yeah, lien searches is. Joe says, "How do I find out if there are any liens?" Geez, you guys are asking lots of questions today. This is great. This is great. We're gonna have to shut it down soon, though. So if you want to get your questions in, go ahead and ask now, and we'll try to get to them all. We've got probably about a few more minutes here. But sweet Moses, you guys are active. This is great. I do like questions, but got a time constraint here. Got more meetings, got more things we got to do. But yeah, so you always got to get that lien search done. And to do a lien search, you can go ahead. Hey, Corey, um, you could type like the county name deed search. That's going to be a really popular way. County name lien search, really popular way. You could go ahead and you could call them, ask them how to do it. That's another good way. But the trouble is being able to actually like navigate this and know what you're looking at. And so everything that you find, you just got to make sure it's on the lawsuit. If you can't find the lawsuit, less complicated mess, more likelihood that everything is fine. Some properties, you've seen them like bounce around. People just transfer it from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff going on here. We got to try to keep it not so complicated, though. This stuff can get a little gnarly. What are your thoughts about the properties and areas that are campground? Do you find them as valuable? To be honest, I haven't seen like an actual. Are you talking about an actual campground, or are you talking about it's like a campground? That's probably a bit different. Because if I found a campground, I would actually be really excited about that. If it was still active, if it was still, like actually functioning, that would be very, very exciting. But if you're talking about like a campground, just like land that's just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere, you always want to go ahead and check the comps. And so I showed earlier how to do comps on prop stream or prop wire. But if you don't have an address, then you're going to have to go ahead and find out where the coordinates are and then look it up in Zillow. Paul says in Harris County, Texas, are the foreclosures mixed in with the tax sales? No, but HOA sales are, which are deadly. We've got videos. We did a video like 2 weeks ago on that. So go ahead and I guess we don't have like a way to link it, but maybe go through the last few lives that we've done. And we actually showed how to do a title search in Harris County.
Josh, so coming back to the title search there, it's super important. One of the guys, I got another story, didn't research title. And one of Josh's great sayings is just because it's at a tax sale doesn't mean it's a tax sale property. And yeah, we met this guy and he didn't research the title and bought an HOA and is now stuck with 2 mortgages over, I think, 300,000 each. So super important to research that title and kind of know what you're getting into there. We've seen that story over and over again, and that's one of the big things we're gonna try to help you guys avoid.
Yeah, we're gonna have to rename this video like the Q&A extravaganza. There's a lot of questions in here.
Nice. Did you tell them about the book yet, Josh?
You know what? Haven't told them about the book. I told them about the vault and virtual auction training.
Nice. Yeah. So for anybody watching or tuning in, we always give away. So our goal is to provide the Tax Lien Deed community with as much free information as humanly possible and 10 times more information than basically all of the other competitors out there. So like on this channel, we have over 3,500 videos. The Tax Lien School is the most unique, comprehensive resource. And below the video is a link for everybody to get the ABCs of tax lien and deed investing along with the directories. And this is a totally free mini course, crash course that'll get you started, walk you through all of the questionnaires and everything. So that link is below in the description. And then from there, if you want some one-on-one hand holding, we also do that as well. So, a lot of people are like, oh, what's your agenda in this business? And our agenda is simple. We're going to give you all of the free information, as much more than anybody out there. And at the end of the day, rather than selling this, we give it away. And from there, we just extend an invitation if you want to work with us one-on-one, where we can take you by the hand, help you get a deal up to 90% below market value in 30 days or less. Just book a free call with us. The link is in the description. We can have a conversation, see if it's a fit. And if you want to work with us, that's great. If not, we have tons of free information. So all of that information is below in the description. You can check that out as well. And we can continue on with some of these great questions here. Man, tons of good questions. Hey, Josh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's hot today.
Nice, nice. All right, which one do you want to take next?
Let's see. Okay, yeah. So Jesse says, is there a way you could put up on the screen too? I don't think I've got that ability.
Gotcha.
Jesse says, how do you use comps for determining deals? Also, how did you create the strategies that led you to maximizing tax deed sale profits? That's a big question.
That is a big one. If you want to take
I mean, yeah, if we just kind of break it down, earlier in the video, Jesse, we showed how to use comps to figure out how much a property is worth. There was a property that came up on Zillow that said it was assessed at around $30,000. I think that's because that's what the county said too. But then looking at property in the area, we could make a better argument for about $100,000. But the more comps you have, the more confidence you have in that score. So we only found two. So like low confidence. So you kind of want to tread carefully, but you just want to get at least three, And so just go back and watch that part of the video again. You can see how we use PropWire for free. And then as far as the strategies go, that would be mostly through trial and error. But I would say that getting started, the best thing is to always just offload it as quickly as possible. Dustin says you want the fast bucks, not the last bucks. And so sometimes you see, if you do a rehab, you can make this much profit. But getting started out, and even for people that have been in this game for a long time, this is your rehab budget. And a lot of funny stuff can happen in this business, especially when you're far away from your property. And next thing you know, this is happening. Your rehab budget goes a little bit higher, and then something goes wrong, and then here, and then you end up either fighting really hard just to break even, or fighting hard to like minimize the losses. And so we like to just simply cycle things as quickly as possible. I would say one point is that in Philadelphia, there's a way that you can actually wholesale properties, which is really sweet. So if you're interested in learning about that, you definitely got to sign up for our virtual auction training in Philadelphia. You can only do that in Philadelphia. You can't do that in anywhere else in the country. You can simply wholesale, which is sweet.
Nice. Let's see. Joe is saying, yeah, can you help me one-on-one? So yeah, absolutely. So for everybody watching this, like I mentioned, we have the book that's available for everybody for free below. And from there, there's also a link where you can book a free call, and we can show you where to go, where the deals are, and talk about seeing if it's a fit to work together. So that link is below in the description. It's free to book the call. And from there, like I say, you look at a lot of things you've done in life for, whether it's learning how to walk or drive a car. Sometimes, you want some one-on-one help, and there's always two types of folks in the world. Some people can buy a cookbook from Chapters, read the recipe, and make a souffle. Others like me, we want some help making that recipe, or we want to show up and eat a meal. So depending on which camp you are, that's where the one-on-one can help. DT is saying want to work with us too. So yeah, guys, it's below in the description, and yeah, we'll see if it's a fit to help you out. So they're saying here, oh, do we have a video on that? Did you answer that one?
Yeah. I'm not sure what Joe is actually referencing, but it sounds like Joe's going to give us a call anyway. So I think we'll be able to sort that out. Yeah, why don't we end here with Daniel's question? This is a great question. Looked in Arizona, found a tract that the state owns and has taxes deed. Sounds like they have taxes on it. On the road, is that common for the state to put road or highway on it for the state for investor? So I think I understand the question, but when you're looking at parcels, And so there's sometimes you got a parcel and they've got a road like going through the middle of it, right? So let's say you've got 2,000 square feet, right? This is your parcel, but you've got a road going through the middle of it. So it's not like you can put a 2,000 square foot house on that, right? Because you've got most likely an easement, right? Because you can't build a house on the road. And so I've seen people before spend a little bit of money to buy a piece of land, and we look it up, and it's like, whoa, there's a river running through it. It's like, what's the plan here, guys? So you've got to make sure that when you are looking at land, and so even though you can get something for $200 and it might be assessed at $2,000 or even $5,000, if you can't build on it or it doesn't have any value or it's in the middle of nowhere, then you want to make sure that you leave that alone. You want to buy something that you'll be able to have an exit strategy on. A great example would be, let's say you do find an unusable piece of land. It's too small to build on, but it's actually square in the middle between four houses. That's actually a much better deal than buying a buildable piece of land that is, 4 hours from town, right? That doesn't have any road access. And so it's all about the exit strategy and knowing how to flip it, right? And so when you're looking at those pieces of land, you just got to imagine, what would someone do with this property? What would someone do with this parcel? Could they build on it? Would somebody want to use it to grow their lot size? Could we put a billboard on it? Is there anybody who can look at it? So you always got to be thinking creatively, and outside the box. So that'd be my response to that, Daniel. Yeah, great questions, guys. Really, really good questions today.
Yeah, excellent questions. DT is saying, got the book. The calls are available right now. I just checked. They do often fill up. So if you go to try to book a call and you don't see an availability, you might have to come back, as those do often fill up. So great show up, guys. If you like this stuff, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. A lot of folks who watch this aren't subscribed, and then they go to a tax sale and make a mistake. So that's why we're here, to help everybody. And the thing that always comes up is like, what's our agenda? What's the angle? If this works so good, why are you guys teaching it, right? And the story, we put up a couple videos. They really grew over time, and from there, it's a great win-win. Like for us, we show you guys thousands of dollars worth of advice. You come in if you want to work with us one-on-one. That is a business that we have as well. But then we also team up with people who come in, and it just really is a win-win situation for all parties involved. The YouTube stuff, was never our intention out of the gate, and it just kind of grew. And, if somebody hands you something that works, run with it. And that's really what we're doing. But our true goal is to provide the tax lien and deed investing community the best videos, the best training, and the #1 resource. And I really feel that we've done that. With our Tax Lien School, you have the auction maps there, all of the resources to help you, thousands of articles on each county. This YouTube channel has, 3,500 videos here to help. For everybody who tunes in, you get the mini course, the directory, the book if you want. And then, from there, if you want some hand holding, there you can book a call and we can show you in person how to do it. One of the big things for me, like I went to a seminar 21 years ago, and the thing that really helped me get my first deal is I met a guy at the seminar who said, hey, come meet me in Washington. I'll walk you through the ropes and show you how to do it. And little did I know at that time, he ended up being a mentor, showing me. I would have never pulled the trigger on the deal if it weren't for him there showing me the traps and what made the deal good. And I ended up getting 40 acres of land for $4,200, sold it for 20 grand. But I personally would have never done that without the hand holding. Now, maybe that's not for you. Maybe you can just run with it. But at the end of the day, the honest realization we all have to have is, how much content have you been consuming without action, right? Because my look and our look at it is, okay, this content's fun, but if you don't do anything with it, it's kind of a waste of time. So there's this concept called the speed of implementation. And the most successful people in real estate are the folks who can hear of a concept, and from the time they hear about it until the time they execute, the shorter that time is, the more success that you have. So, you have two options. You can check out more of our videos, go do it on your own. We give you the book, that's totally there. Or if you want the hand-holding help, you can schedule a call below. Regardless, we're just pumped that you tuned in. We'll be back again soon, and we will catch everybody here on the next one.
All right. Happy Tuesday.
See you guys.